Once upon a time, there was a village. And in this village lived a warlock. But one day, all of the townspeople came to the warlock and said, "Leave. We don't like you practicing your witchcraft here." The warlock said, "No, I will not." And so the village people burned the warlock, leaving nothing but a pile of ash. And from the ashes arose the phoenix. How y'all doing? It's Lugermonger. This is a Paragon Phoenix. Sorry about that hokey shit. I've just been wanting to do that. This is an awesome knife, right? If you're familiar with the Paragon Warlock, this is the second iteration in the series featuring the Warlock opening mechanism. I'm going to start calling it WOM, right? So it's a WOM Warlock opening mechanism. It's the referring to this here where you squeeze both sides of the pivot and it splits the handle in half, releasing the blades. The blade can actually just fall free and fall out of there. If you're familiar or if you're curious on how that actually works, I've got a video on the disassembly of the actual Warlock itself, so take a look at that. It's kind of curious. It's actually a very simple mechanism, but right off the bat, I want to get full disclosure. I did not buy this knife. This was actually sent to me from Paragon for review, so I do really, that's just really cool, and this is the first knife on my channel that I didn't actually pay for. Haha, check that out. Pretty cool. I definitely am a fan of it. You can tell that they've taken the Warlock. They had the Warlock, they made that, and they've refined the process a little bit to actually come up with this one here. It's a little bit more in tune. There's absolutely no blade play. There's no blade play in this back, forth, side to side. It is rock solid. And with that, it did come with the break-in period. When I first got it, first took it out of the box, it worked. It, operated flawlessly, but in the open position, in the closed position, it was fine. But in the open position here, it actually didn't close all the way. There was a little bit of a gap, just like that, right? Just a little bit of a gap. The handles were just enough apart to where it would actually click and make a noise. And so it took a while to get it in there. I could squeeze it. I could squeeze it down and get it to actually seal and sit flush like it is here now. But it did take a little bit of a work-in period. There was like when I would squeeze it down, it would like pop open. That took more pressure and actually did pop open. So I had to wear the Cerakote off, just these corners, these edges just a little bit. But now that I have carried this around for about 2 weeks now, it works flawlessly, flips in and out. And the biggest complaint that people had with the Warlock itself was the fact that it was a dagger, right? So the next iteration, you're going to come out with different styles and different blade shapes. They've done, I don't even know what to call this. It's just a standard point. And it's beautiful. Convex grind. I love the way that the grind is done because the hollow here, the hollow section here is not convex, excuse me, compound grind. But the way that the hollow is done here is it comes up a little bit higher than the flat section, and it's been radiused, right? So it gives the flat of the blade this almost harpoon-esque effect. And what that does for me, I don't know if it's going to come across here, is it looks Persian, right? It looks like it's upswept, but it's actually not. It is a flat spine. So it's just a great blade shape, definitely a good utility, good working shape. If you're a fan of a compound grind, you're definitely probably going to like this one. And it's got a good penetration ability, good stabby tip, very, very thin on the tip. Well, it's not very thin. It's decently reinforced, but it is still a very stabby tip. And the fact that there's no resistance on the spine, it's a flat back. The only thing encountering resistance upon penetration into material is going to be the cutting edge here. So it's going to sail into material. And with that, the handle shape itself, you can see it's got a distal taper on the handle. And as well, the case, it's just like it's basically a case, I mean, it's form fitted to the actual blade itself. So it's just in like a reverse blade shape. And what that does is it's thinner at the back, right? So no matter in both directions here, it's actually widening up. It's getting thicker. So the stopping potential for this knife is incredible. I can actually hold myself like this. I did this couple times, but I can hold my actual body weight up on the knife like this without slipping up onto the knife, which for a folding knife is actually quite impressive. And it remains the same due to the fact that the handle here is the exact same profile with the blade open or closed. I can actually do that, and it would be the same grip I would have upon penetration with the knife. So that's just kind of a cool little design there. I don't know if you just caught that. There was that little bit of, I did. I had a little bit of pinch. Let me see if I can get that to demonstrate here. Give it a really good squeeze down. I'll punch it. Screw it, right? Let's see if it pops. Nah, it's still going to float free. Still, every once in a while, there's just that slight bit of grip there, so it's still working itself out. There's multiple. You can get couple different versions of this. It's available on different internet retailers. You can look it up. You can get the Phoenix here, which has actually been laser engraved into the handle. I'll give you a good look at the pattern there. You can see the actual like texture that's in there. It looks really good. It's got kind of like a gritty sandpaper-esque look inside the actual laser milling of the Phoenix there. I like the way that these are done. They taper off, and so it gives a good effect from far away, but when you really give a good look at them, you can actually see the shape of the jimping on the back here. So each of these little jimpings is differently shaped. It's definitely an excellent design. That was done very artistically. I like the way that that's done. Gives good grip, good purchase. I don't use it actually pulling this thing out of my pocket. You could use this to pull it out of your pocket, and for that it would work excellent. I just grab a hold of the knife, deploy the blade like that. This is a finicky knife. It's not the most intuitive thing. There is a learning curve with this. When you first get it, you're going to have to get the timing down, right? It's all about timing. Fling it out and catch the blade closed. Excuse me. But with that, once you have it down, it's just fun. This knife is just fun. It's awesome, right? And it so much nails that second kind of cool, to steal a term from Nut and Fancy. In the actual operation, right? You've got the operation, the whole mechanism itself. It's strange, you know what I mean? It's not normal. People like, how does that work, right? And then you've got the compound grind with the different swedges. It's an excellent looking blade. It's been laser milled actually on the blade here as well. You can see that Paragon USA S30V Asheville Steel is laser milled into the laser etched, actually into the blade tang, or the blade itself, blade stock itself. So it just has so much cool factor to it. And it is a larger knife. It's got a 3.8 inch blade length, but being the fact that it's a single edge, and this is a manual action folder. This is sold as a manual action folder. It's not a gravity knife. It's not an automatic. This is a manual action folder with a 3.8 inch blade length. So if it's legal for you to carry a 3.8 inch blade length, this knife is legal as of right now in your area as far as purchasing. I don't know if that's the way that the judge is going to feel, but as far as right now buying this knife, that is the way it's marketed. So it's a manual action folder. That's the way I carry it. It is a little bit long on the 3.8 inch blade length, but at that point, you know what I mean, who gives, you know, it's not an automatic. I definitely do like this knife, and it does have a lot of utility to it. When I first got the Warlock, I didn't have as much respect for the operation of or just the overall mechanism itself. Really thinking about this is an incredibly strong mechanism. You've got a 360 degree wrapping in aluminum, right? There's basically no area for breakage except for the aluminum body itself, or that massive pivot, right? Which is just an two aluminum shafts intersecting like this, to actually give you that opening mechanism, right? Or the actual opening action itself. And so it's an incredibly strong mechanism. And it works like a frame lock, right? Like a frame lock, in the fact that with your grip, your actual working grip holds the shells together, right? I don't know what to call it, little clam shells. It actually holds them together. So that in itself gives an extra level of rigidity and support. So I do think that this has the capability of being an incredibly strong mechanism. I'm not going to be the one to test it out. I don't know if anybody ever is going to test this thing to failure, but if they do, I would definitely be curious, because I think it's going to be able to take a beating and hang on for a really long time. I'm just amazed that with is free, right? Because it's, look at that. It moves and it rattles and it pops, and then you'll release it and it is rock solid. There's no movement, there's no rattle, there's no shake. A little bit of that in comparison, right, to the original Warlock here. And this isn't bad. I mean, that's not bad blade play. It's like an OTF. You know what I mean? It's expected with the actual mechanism itself, I would think. I don't actually, the amount of work and precision that has gone into the actual design of this to give you that rock solid lockup, it just shows the evolution, you know what I mean, of the actual knife itself, the evolution of the actual design, which I think is excellent. I like the way it carries in my pocket. Pocket clip works quite well. It is a longer pocket clip, but it feels good in the hand because of that. I think that's actually why they did extend the pocket clip a little bit. But it carries nicely because it's got a flat back, right? So that it hugs the side of my pocket very well, and it's flat. So the seam of my pants is actually riding with the seam of the knife, and you just have this little bit of curvature coming out. And so it's actually very discreet in your pocket for as much is sticking out. You can imagine how much is actually protruding from the pocket there. So it's a lot sticking out, well, relatively, but it's still very discreet, and it actually looks kind of cool. You know what I mean? If you're concerned about how the knife looks actually in your pocket, I think this thing does look pretty dope right in my pocket. You know, there's a little bit of stall actually pulling it out of your pocket. You do have to get your fingers on the button, but once they're on the button and you have that timing down and you actually have the action down to get this thing open, nothing's going to stop it from opening. I do like playing with it. It's a whole lot of fun to just sit there on the couch, right? Because I can drop it down, and well, there's one that I'll do, right? Have the blade hanging like this, and if I can release my grip just enough to let the handles flow freely in my hand, let it flow freely, but still maintain being open. See if I can do this, right? I'll be able to throw the handle down. See, I can't do it, but I can throw the handle down sitting on the couch, and the blade won't move. Have the blade remain stationary through gravity, and the blade handles will actually come down and capture it, and then I'll close it like that. So there's little games and stuff that I can actually play with this thing. Definitely a whole lot of fun. Again, reiterate, I did get this from Paragon. This is one of the first knife on my channel that I've never actually paid for. Thank you so much, Robert at Paragon. I really do appreciate this thing. I really like it. I think it's going to do excellent on the market. I really think it's going to be a hit. I definitely hope it is. There's going to be different models as well. I've got confirmation from the man himself that there will be different models of the WOM opening mechanism, different versions of the knife coming out. So keep your eye out on that. It's a Paragon Phoenix from Asheville Steel. Yeah, y'all have a good one.